Welcome back to Fast Money. Check out cannabis company Trulieve, unable to hold on to gains after reporting earnings before the bell. The multi-state operator closing out its 15th consecutive profitable quarter with strong revenue growth and a major step forward for its retail footprint. For more on the quarter, let's bring in Trulieve CEO Kim Rivers. Kim, thank you very much for joining us here today. You know, I saw that gross margins took a little bit of a hit when it comes to the year-over-year comparison. Is that what disappointed investors here at the end of the day?
Absolutely not. We continue to have a leading margin, and I think folks were actually surprised by us posting 69% gross margin in the results today. I actually don't think that there was much to anything that was disappointment on the quarter. I think that it's a typical sell the news event with the press event with Congresswoman Mace this afternoon, which we're of course excited about and see it as a macro positive catalyst. But as far as our quarter, we posted record revenue, record EBITDA. It was a beat both top and bottom line, and then again exceptionally strong margin performance as well. So I'm really proud of the team this quarter. I think it was a quarter with execution. We also closed, of course, the Harvest transaction in the middle of the quarter as well, and we now have an industry-leading footprint with over 155 dispensaries across 11 states, 3.5 million square feet of cultivation. So it was a great quarter, and I think that again in the afternoon we saw a broader market sector sell off, which again is a typical sell the news event.
Hey, Kim, it's Tim. Yeah, I mean, you don't need to play fast money trader. It was a great quarter. Your stock had moved over 30% week over week, and it was a crazy week for the sector. So I agree with the assessment of great political news is something that had been priced in. In fact, I would focus on $316 million in pro forma revenue, which puts you really toe-to-toe with Curaleaf as the biggest company in the space. And so I'll ask it in the context of DC maybe moving faster. You're a company that's incredibly cash flow generative, and you have cash in the balance sheet. Does this make you want to get bigger faster? You're already near the front of the line, if not at the front of the line. You've made a big transaction, but you're in a position where you could do more, and Washington maybe making it that much more interesting to move faster.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we love the optionality of the combined footprint and where we sit. And to your point, the fact that we do have a very not only do we have a great balance sheet today, but we are generating exceptional operating cash flow on a quarter-by-quarter basis. So certainly we remain eyes wide open in terms of opportunities ahead of us, while also ensuring that we're continuing to focus on our core business and optimizing our platform so that we can continue our track record of profitable growth.
Kim, when it comes to the way that you've laid out your strategy and your physical locations, you're looking at this more of a hub retail strategy. Why is that better for you?
Well, I think that, again, going back to this concept of optionality, we think it's important to look at and maintain efficiencies across markets in our current landscape, which is somewhat fragmented, and given the federal regulatory constraints, can be difficult, quite frankly, to achieve profitability on a market-by-market basis. So ensuring that we have alignment across regional hubs allows us to be more efficient in our existing markets. It also sets us up to take advantage of federal reform when that occurs, and we don't think it's an if, we do think it's a when. So, having, again, regionalized operational scale will be important and will be increasingly important as the landscape shifts over time.
So, Kim, it's Steve Grasso. When you look at the environment, where do you see this whole cannabis space in 5 years? Obviously, a lot of the DC reverberations that will impact the industry are going to be known at that time. Do you see it as a handful of players, or do you see it as ubiquitous through every state and more players than we see right now?
Yeah, obviously a lot of that is dependent on regulations and how the regulatory framework unfolds. I do think that the analogy to alcohol is a good one. I think that, there certainly will be room in the ecosystem for a variety of players, both big and small, and on various parts of the supply chain. I do think that you will have some, significant companies and significant brands that resonate within the space across the U.S., and that certainly is where Trulieve will be positioned over the next 5 years. I think it is important to note that while the federal conversation is certainly exciting, and we certainly anticipate that there will be change there and meaningful change there over time, that our growth nor really the U.S. cannabis growth story is not predicated on federal reform. You have companies such as Trulieve who are extremely successful, extremely profitable, growing on an amazing year-over-year basis. We had 64% standalone growth year-over-year, absent federal reform, with the restrictions on banking, with the restrictions and the kind of absurd tax rate that we're under. So while federal reform certainly is going to change the game and up to the positive, there are a lot of near-term catalysts that we have to look forward to at the state level as well.
Kim Rivers, CEO of Trulieve, thank you very much for being here with us.
Thanks.
Okay, Tim, we know that you're hot in this space. What do you make of the results today and the trades from here?
Well, full disclosure, Trulieve's a big position in my ETF, so yep. I like the story. These numbers were great. I think just let's quickly talk. We were on this story all week. A week ago, you really had some headlines out of D.C., potentially extraordinary, but I think people do have to understand that the federal path is still one that has challenges. And today, again, Nancy Mace, Congresswoman from South Carolina, who's brought forth the States Reform Act, is running into some headwinds even from within her own state. But the bottom line here is, the legislative path for the sector, it is not about if, it is when. And I think what you saw in the market over the last week, when cannabis stocks moved from really 3 p.m. Friday, November 5th through last Friday, and even into today, in many cases, the biggest companies in the sector moved 30 to 40%. That's just something that you can't do without taking a little bit of a breath. And let's take a deep breath, because cannabis is a long-term growth story. It doesn't necessarily need to all be made up in a week's worth of trading. And I think the foundations are built there.